Hi, my name is Jeremy Luyties, and I'm one of the lead game designers for Call of Duty 3.
I'm Jesse Snyder. I'm one of the senior game designers for Call of Duty 3.
And I am Jason McCord, a senior level designer for Call of Duty 3.
So what we're kind of starting off here with, the actual level doesn't really start here. It starts a little bit earlier where you get some training, but in this particular sequence we're showing off our ensemble mocap. We actually had our 300-pound sand guy in the studio pushing a life-size truck back and forth to capture this moment. Talking a little about the Call of Duty 3 authenticity, here you get a real nice glimpse of the laser scanning technology we've used and applied to our character models. It really allows the folds and every little detail of the belt and the helmets of the characters to come off into the world. Jason, you remember how many times you had to build this area?
Yeah, that was quite a few. It started off as a really big open area, and didn't work out so well. So I had to change it up a few times.
What was so tough about it in the beginning?
Well, when you go over the wall here, you'll see all the cover and everything. But the first time we built it, there was pretty much it was a very bombed out cemetery. We realized there was no cover, and the player was just walking through, just getting shot all day long, and it wasn't really that much fun. So we ended up adding a lot of walls and a lot of headstones and those little mausoleums there and everything.
Coming over that wall, you guys will just know that would be one of our big money moments to suck the player in. Just what was it like doing some of the scripting through this area?
It was pretty crazy. I mean, we got all the new drone stuff. So you see like a lot of the guys running along the sides. We can fill up the screen with just hundreds of guys.
Yeah, the sheer volume of the next gen allowed you to get a lot more on there.
Yeah. See some physics objects rolling around.
Oh, there we go. There's some of that destructible cover everybody's talking about.
Yeah, there's a lot of sections of walls that will blow up and stuff if you hit them just right with the grenade. A lot of the headstones blow up as well.
You'll be able to just notice the sheer volume of things we're able to get on the screen with the next gen technology, just guys, particles. It's kind of like one of the goals of Call of Duty 3 is to basically make a living battlefield, a living world where everywhere you look, something's moving.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. That used to be a tank shooting that thing and blowing up, and then we decided planes were better to blow up a tower.
Do you remember how the whole turning it into two planes instead of one plane thing came about?
No.
Just that everyone's always seen one plane. We gotta at least make it two.
Yeah.
There's our grass right there, the next gen grass that moves and stuff as the player walks through, as the enemies walk through. You can track enemies if you're good enough.
There goes a little ragdoll. Little grenade action.
So what's cool about some of our AI systems is, we got this fallback system in place, so you can actually push the enemy all the way back, into the church. So guys you would be fighting right at the beginning could be pushed all the way back. So I don't know, that's kind of cool.
And it's like every time you break a threshold of a particular line within that battle, the enemy does something, right? Like with their hands.
Yeah, they'll they'll kind of talk to each other and tell each other to move to cover and stuff. So.
And the friendlies will do that as well when they're moving around, and you see them communicating on the battlefield and giving each other hand signals. Now, this particular part, something that's a decent problem in video games is, keeping memory, memory management and loading and zone loading. What was the zone loading like in this area, Jason?
This was pretty rough. It was this is an area where you had to go from the graveyard where it was a bunch of trees and bushes and grass and all the gravestones and all those assets to the town really quickly. So I had to swap out all the foliage stuff for like concrete and sandbags and stuff like that. So it took a little planning, a little rearranging.
Here we go, checking out some of that next gen water. Get all those shaders working. And here's showing off a bit of the the focus, and then when you focus in on a particular item that you want to shoot, it actually clears up. Here comes another money shot.
I'm very proud of that sign, by the way.
That was the first physics object you built, right?
Yep, sure was.
This read really turned out nice with the opening of the world and the two planes flying by, in the setup for what was it like putting this together with the script and Jess?
This was actually pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just, a little sequence put together. Although you can see like the nano stuff up on the right, that Nazi flag with the explosion.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, nano is our cloth physics, by the way.
Yeah.
Nano.
So here we kind of wanted to introduce the player to one of the new core features of Call of Duty 3, which is battle action. So we really wanted to slow down the pacing and give the moment a player to breathe, catch his breath, and allow us to really put him in a position to take advantage of a soft, serene moment. There we go.
That nice slowdown there is a brilliant Jeremy Luyties move.
You want to tell them about the zoom-in thing, like the?
Yeah, actually, you'll notice that the camera is really up and close and personal. The original design was actually to keep the camera further back, but one of our great testers accidentally walked through this particular sequence in ADS, which is basically in aiming mode, and essentially what that meant is it took something that was fairly intense to a whole nother level of intensity. So we're very thankful that it was one of those happy accidents. And the funny thing about that melee sequence too is it could have almost been cut 2 or 3 days before putting the level together. It's ironic how you work and focus on some things and it doesn't come together till the last minute.
Nichols, spot targets for Guzzo.
So here you kind of notice that we're taking the player through about 3 different types of a gameplay experience within one map. The cemetery area being first like an infantry style battle, introducing the player to the battle actions, and then in this particular area we're allowing the player to jump up on the back of a tank and work with Guzzo, who's your radio man, to help navigate and show that the communication between the tanks. What was it like building this area out versus the infantry stuff, Jason?
Well, I thought that was interesting about this area is that Jesse came up with the whole idea for this event. And then it took me and Brian Anderson, one of our lead artists, about an hour of sitting in an office pelting Jeremy with the idea that this could actually work. He didn't think it could be fun at all, so we had to come up with the ideas, and then he got on board, and it actually turned into a pretty intense little event.
And as intense the event is, as intense the battle was, which I'm very glad that I gave into and let you guys pull forward with the decision, because you guys really did make a great call.
So whenever you shoot those buildings, what'll happen is a big section of it will come flying out towards the player and hit physics and bounce along the ground. And some of the stuff is animated. A lot of the chimneys and stuff will fall and collapse through the floors below, and that's all been hand animated.
These vehicles look really good.
You notice that when you're in a situation where the player is not moving, you've got to put 10 times the amount of activity on the screen to make it interesting, because the player is static. So from a building and a scripting perspective, this was an absolute huge challenge to make this area interesting and fun and enjoyable to look at, because when you're static, there just needs to be that much more on the screen. But because of the next-gen technology, it really allowed us to take advantage of every element of that.
My favorite section in this area is all the particles. Whenever the explosions on the tank go off, like right there, I love those particles. They're so good.
Now you notice too, this read here to our left happened totally by a happy accident. We were playing through the level, and originally we were supposed to go through the streets, and it was all good and cool. And as we were playing through the level, we started looking backwards a lot and discovered that accidentally Jason had built some reeds backwards that were like almost stronger than the reeds going forward. So
Yeah.
that's why the tank now goes up against that wall and forces the player to look backwards. Showing off some of the next-gen vehicles. So historically, you're actually moving up with a Task Force C, which was all a part of the St. Lo experience, as well as far as authenticity, you actually fought through Graveyard and through the whole church and up into the town area, which we researched quite heavily.